Oh, man, they're all labeled wrong now. I don't remember.
I mean, they're all
which ones.
labeled wrong.
They're all labeled different than what I'm used to. Okay, this is a good one. Nope, that's not the good one. Because I don't want that one.
It's literally,
we're gonna
hold on, I'll do it. It's this one.
All right. Which one?
It's literally the second one.
Top. Okay. All right. Whatever. The mic back. Sound good again? Sound better?
Yep, you sound normal.
Brand new microphone. Had to buy it because my other one decided to stop working, which is unfortunate. But
yep, we're here. Wish we weren't. We are.
Gonna be another shorter one today. It says 25 minutes on the clock, which is good for those who want the game to start, and bad for those like Sam who doesn't want the game to start. But hello, we are back here in the building. And Joel Embiid, we technically don't know.
He's playing.
He's playing. Like let's be real here.
I think it's
maybe
a
we'll
good
try
thing.
today.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like the Celtics are more apt to give some effort, which again we shouldn't have to worry about that, but evidently we do. So that's how it's gonna have to be. I guess Joel Embiid is in the building, meaning the Celtics are gonna try a little harder, which I guess is good overall, even though you'd like them to try regardless. But you know, I like I said, I still have confidence that they can turn it around. It's just game one was obviously not the start that you would have liked to see from the Celtics, especially when you have an opportunity with Embiid out. But we move. Nothing they can do about it now. Just gotta show it now. They just gotta show that they've changed from it, and we'll see if that happens tonight.
Sam, what are you eating? Is it zebra
snack.
cakes? Oh, well, what is it? I know you're having a snack. Yes,
Protein bar.
Oh, what
Not
kind of protein bar? What are we talking?
Chocolate covered chocolate chip.
There you go.
Oh,
Let's see.
Look at that. There you go. He's playing.
Henry saying
Shams.
Joel Embiid will be playing. There we go. Henry saying feeling a D White game. I think you just need all of those role player guys to step up a little bit. I think they need to hit their shots. D White struggled a little bit in game one with the shot, as did Al Horford. They didn't really get a ton of opportunities to shoot the ball. Joe Mazzulla was saying it pregame. He said the Celtics got so comfortable because they got so many easy looks at the basket when they broke out the zone, they continued to try to jam inside instead of playing, the offense that worked for them. Combine that with what John is saying so aptly. How about they play some fucking defense? And it was just kind of not a great game. So
the zone didn't really affect them. They put the zone on, they built the lead up to 12, and then they all of a sudden stopped trying. That's what happened.
Joe Mazzulla was talking about the second half. He said they shut down the paint a little bit better in the second half. And the Celtics.
Maybe they did, but the zone came out in the second quarter.
All right.
So he's full of it.
Okay. I think they need to bring it on both ends a little bit better. I think they need to stick to the offensive game plan, and I think they need to nail down a defensive game plan, which, weirdly enough, I feel like it might be easier with Joel because you have more of a defined game plan. Again, not an excuse. Like, you should win a game without the MVP on the court, but I think it'll be a little bit easier for the Celtics to nail down that game plan of, okay, let's go one-on-one with Joel. We'll rush to send help, and we'll scramble out of rotations rather than trying to throw whatever you can at Harden. If anything, I think this could affect Harden. Maybe he'll have a quieter game, but I guess we'll see. I have a feeling they bounce back tonight, but that's just me.
I think it slows down the 76ers offense, and it also gives the Celtics a chance to try and exploit that because he's going to be lumbering around. I don't care if he got cleared to play. Like, he's playing on what they've described is worse than a grade 1 LCL sprain and potentially a tear in there, but they're keeping it very mum on that. They've been talking it down a lot, which makes me think that by having him out on the floor, not only I think the Celtics play better when Joel Embiid is on the floor, I think they just are really good at containing him, and the 76ers offense slows down already. But in this situation, he's not 100%, which means that you can exploit that. And also means that you're probably not going to have as many issues with Al on the floor. I think he got really attacked by James Harden last game. They kept getting him in those high screens and just absolutely punishing that mismatch just because of the speed there. I didn't think that was going to happen, but, I also thought that they had a really good chance to win that game. So, anything's possible.
It's true. It is true. They absolutely had a chance to win the game, and they said, not today. Not today. We're not going to score. You can complain as much as you want about Smart, but he literally had all the points in the fourth quarter. So him having the ball at the end of the game, even though historically the numbers might not be great, he might not have shot the best throws his last couple seasons in the playoffs in that situation, but he was the guy. He was the only one that could get anything going. Jaylen Brown all of a sudden didn't shoot the ball in the second half. 10 shots the whole game, made 8 of them. Maybe get him some more looks. And he was kind of snippy when he was talking about the game, right? You saw that?
They didn't get out and run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame him. I get pissed when people don't run with me. And I'm not in the NBA. Run. I don't know why there's nobody running with him on that possession.
Yeah.
Even though he could have kicked it back to Brogdon and then cut. Wouldn't have been the worst idea in the world. I would have liked to see them just not melt in the clutch for once. They fooled all of us in Game 6. Jack and I came on the pod and we were like, wow, they learned how to play in the clutch. And then they were like, yeah, gotcha. Pulled the rug, the red carpet, pulled it right out from underneath us.
I will say, I should have said this on the pod. Bold of Sam to talk about laziness when Sam decided to guard me on Sunday night with a bum ankle. I'm just saying, it's an easy defensive matchup.
It's a Sunday. What do you
I
want
guarded
from
you
him,
because
man?
Worth was sitting.
I'm just
And I went right back to him.
So we're lining up on Sunday. I'm running at half speed on my ankle. I see Sam line up against me. He usually takes on like the best assignment of their team. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing here? Why am I getting punished? What did I do to deserve this? But John in the chat saying, what adjustments would you guys make? We keep getting attacked in screen actions. What would you guys do? It's my initial thing is switch and send help if the switch is Horford, or switch and don't depend on Horford as much, or switch and play Horford or Rob. I mean, I think that changes a little because Embiid's there, so you can't switch as much because, I mean, if they switch Derek White onto Joel Embiid, you can't just live with that matchup, right? And Derek White's a great defender, but Joel Embiid is just Joel Embiid. So I think it's a little tougher. I think you kind of have to almost reset completely now that Embiid is playing. I think regardless of the defensive execution reset, I think the biggest thing is just rotate more, help more, run around more, scramble to help, like help from the strong side a little bit and then rush back out to the 3-point line. Don't completely help from the 3-point line because then Melton's going to make 5 threes, right? I think, like Sam says it all the time, defense, as much as it is execution, I think it's probably 50-50 or maybe even a little bit more. Like the little bit more is just hustle, like just
literally try.
Like just
run
try.
around
more. And I think if the Celtics do that more tonight, regardless of how much the game plan changes with Embiid, because I do think it will, I think just showing that a little bit of extra effort around I want to say around the perimeter, but I don't mean the literal perimeter. I meant like outside of the ball handler one-on-one matchup. I think showing a little bit extra effort around the edges there is what I was trying to say. Will help a lot, go a long way.
And to John's question, what adjustment would he make? It's not going to work tonight, but I truly think they should just throw Tatum at center at times. If you can't switch or play Grant. If you can't switch everything,
play Grant.
If you're getting killed on switches, make it so they can't just like headhunt.
Yeah.
I didn't think Horford, even though like the shot went in, he didn't technically do a bad job. He did a good job. The problem is Harden had the confidence that this guy can't cover me because they've been cooking Al all night. You saw Atlanta target him throughout that series. He has become a target for defenses. As good of a defender as he is down low, you might get to see him do something tonight, show his worth out there. But at the end of that game 1, there's no reason why he should have been out there. I'm sorry. That's my guy. Am I still on?
Yeah,
you're still here. Your light is going nuts, though.
Yeah,
my computer's
it went
like,
dark.
I need a breather. It's plugged in. And the screen was like.
Is it really hot? Is it overheating?
I don't think so.
You're still here.
Yeah, you're still here. That was really weird, though.
Yeah. What they should do is just put Tatum at the 5. I mean, not today because Embiid's there, but in the situation where Embiid's not there and you need to stop, maybe when you're at the free throw line, by the way, maybe sub for defense. Maybe do that.
I think for non-Embiid minutes, this is switch Grant in there. So like if Al is, once Embiid comes out, then you take Al out and you put in Grant and Rob. If you're running like those bigs, or you run Grant at the 5, just because. One, I think Grant, like this is a series that plays to his forte, and you also are going against PJ Tucker, who is just kind of like that similar vein of player that Grant is. And I think Grant's also kind of deserved to get more run, and it's kind of bothering me that he hasn't gotten more run. I also thought about something. We had timeouts, right? The Celtics had timeouts in that game where they had the 24-second violation. They had 2 timeouts left. Why did Joe not call a timeout? They did because they called a timeout right after the play.
I think the reason is because they had like 3 open shots and just no one decided to shoot it. Like, are you can't really call a timeout. Like the ball was moving really well. And like they should have had like 3 different open shots in that play. Everyone just decided like
They were good about it.
Not to take.
They were getting
Yeah,
everybody involved, even Maxey.
exactly. But like Tatum had an open look somewhere in there. Smart had an open look at 3. Brogdon had a great look at the end of the shot clock, a little floater in the lane he was nailing all game. They just decided not to take it. So I don't blame the non-timeout there. I just that's just on the players for being not aware in the slightest.
It was dumb in that sense, but I also just think like Joe needs to be more aware of these in-game situations and being able to read what's going on. Cause like you could tell that there was panic there when there was still like 10 seconds left of the shot clock. I get it. Like you don't want to call a timeout, but I feel like they're getting into this habit. And I think Jaylen said as much too, where he got asked about if the team was trying to bleed the clock late in the game. Tom, what's going on? I just felt like they were just putting themselves in this situation. And then Joe apparently told Rob as much today because Rob said it to the media. I think it was pregame interviews. Might have been at shoot around. He's like, sometimes Joe just says like, I'm not going to go ahead and call a timeout because you guys are doing some stupid shit. Like, I'm not going to help you because you guys are being idiots. And I felt like that was one of those moments, and it cost them a freaking game. But I mean, I get both arguments for it, but still,
I agree in general. I don't know if I agree on that specific play because, like, in Joe's defense, how is he supposed to predict that Brogdon's just going to kind of throw the ball to the other team? So, like, I think that's more on him. Every time I talk, they decide to come out and tell us. It's unbelievable. But, yeah, I don't know. Matt saying, evening, fellas, let's hope Joe isn't allergic to timeout tonight. We can defend. Better shots will fall. Joe definitely had room for improvement in that game, but I really don't place it on him. Like, at what point, like, and I'm not saying you, Matt, because, like, this is just kind of the general reaction whenever the Celtics lose. Like, at what point are we going to realize that these issues have been happening for 3 years under 3 different head coaches and have, like, as much as Joe can probably call a couple more timeouts, he admitted after the game, he's like, I need to do a better job calling the plays and urging them to play faster and, like, doing all this stuff. And, like, kudos to him for, like, admitting it. But, like, at what point are the players just going to realize themselves that, like, all right, let's not play like idiots in the last 5 minutes of the game? Like,
never.
Like, it's just
never.
Down to them.
It's not going to happen.
It's a common denominator, right?
It should have happened a million times. I can point to a million instances where the Celtics should have been like, hey, you know what? We should not try and put this circle block in the square hole during crunch time. For me, maybe it would have been, I don't know, game 4 of the finals. Maybe that would have been it. And then maybe it would have been when they blew the lead against Brooklyn or New York or then Cleveland, but then that didn't happen.
Or getting the doors blown off them against
perhaps
OKC.
Atlanta. You're like, hey, maybe we shouldn't suck anymore when these games get close. And then they're like, oh, okay, Embiid's out. All right, free win for Philly. We'll give them that one for free. And now you're in an 0-1 hole. The guy's coming back. He just won the MVP. He's going to be pumped, even though he might be hurt. And his teammates are going to be pumped because they just beat you. I mean, how much harder can you make it for yourself? All you have to do, Jack, is not be the absolute worst. It's back. It's back. It's another spring. It's another don't be the worst. That's all you have to do. They did it on Monday. They were like, you know what? We're just not going to play any defense. I don't care about what the shooting splits were, what the numbers were on the shot attempts. They still shot 60% from the field. They still scored 115 points. If they defend, they win that game. They are, amongst the teams that are still in, second to last in defensive rating in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Regular season, they were second in the league. Big change.
Yeah. I agree. The defense hasn't been there. And I mean, I explained it on the podcast. I wrote about it today. Like, the offense, I don't think was good enough in game 1 either, or game 1 yet either. But like Sam said, like, I think it goes both ways. If you defend better in that game, you win. And if you don't play like assholes on offense in the second half, you also win. Like,
true.
They just, like, they completely melt when it comes down to it. And I wrote, like I said, I wrote about it for Celtics blog, and I likened it to the Brooklyn Nets game where they blew a 28-point lead. And someone pointed out, like, that's different. They weren't up big in this one.
I thought of you when they were making everything, by the way, because we talked about that at the Nets game.
Which one? What do you mean?
When they were making everything, and you were like, that kind of hurt them.
Oh, yeah. No. Well, the thing is, like, they got so many free looks in the first half in the Nets game that they continued to try to attack the basket and didn't play their 3-point heavy offense that has worked all season. As much as he hates threes, like, that's what works for them. That's what makes them such a great offense. And in this game, they got so many easy looks in the first half at the rim that they just didn't go back to the 3-point heavy offense. Like, I'm not saying they have to shoot 50 threes, But 29 in a game is just not their brand of basketball. They're not going to win games shooting less than 33s. As much as you want to say like the efficiency, and they did shoot well, and they still should have won the game with the shots they took because the defense was also bad.
That's the bottom line.
But taking less than 33s has happened one other time this season, and it was in that Nets game because they tried to put the square peg in the round hole and play the wrong style of offense, and that's what they did, and that's what Joe meant. And that's not the story because the defense and the turnovers were so bad. But playing the wrong brand of offensive basketball will also put them in a hole. And that's what you saw in the first game. And if they shoot less than 33s in a game, they're not going to win. Period. Like, that's just point blank.
Not period. If they play defense, they win. That's it. If they don't give up 119, they win.
It's very low.
That's
My point
low.
is that's just the wrong offense. And I agree with you.
I
It
agree
goes
with
both
what you're
ways.
saying. On a regular night where they shoot like mortals, yes. But anytime you're like shooting, I don't know, what did they miss in the first quarter? One shot, and they were up like, what, 5? Red flag. Terrible.
Thank you, William. You can have a cookie. Let's see. Jimmy J saying Warriors killed Lakers in threes. What happened last night?
Free throws,
Lakers
baby.
played defense. This is right, too. The Lakers got inside. They played defense. Anthony Davis was a monster on defense for the
After
Lakers.
this, I want to address some other things.
I know Sam was mad, but we can go now. I just was looking at a comment.
Okay, so
Diffusing a
these
bomb.
kind of go hand in hand here. Andrew says, ending quarters in games been a problem for the Celtics
Agreed.
all season.
Yes.
The second quarter, they were up 12, and then they were like, here's a nice little comeback for you before
Because they
half.
slow
And Liam-
down. It's because they completely slow down at the end of quarters in the games.
Liam says, don't love when the Celtics look mortal. If they're not up by 25, I get nervous. You should be, because they can't play close games, like Andrew says. It's true. If you go and look at the clutch numbers, it'll tell you they have a winning record in clutch time. Yeah, there you go, Sam, moron. Literally, just watching them play a close game is torture because you can't trust them. It's got to the point where I don't trust these guys. Who do you trust down the stretch to get you points? Tatum? No.
Smart. Marcus.
It has to
I
be
trust
smart.
Jaylen. I trust
People
Jaylen
are
to finish
mad at
plays.
this. While you guys talk, I'm going to pull up the fourth quarter box score. He must have been very good in that fourth quarter.
He was.
Efficient.
He had 6 turnovers on the night, though. Fortunately,
That's
I think
not
they all
great.
happened in the first half. That was the thing. Yeah, I mean,
Let's look.
so
all periods, fourth quarter. Go
Yeah.
ahead. You got it. All right. Smart. 3 of 4. Missed a 3. Made all 4 of his free throws. He did have 2 turnovers. One of them was that last play. But he had 10 points. Nobody else had anything. Tatum, 1 of 4.
yeah,
Get mad
Brown-
at that, even though he did get hacked on one of his misses. In fairness
yeah.
to Tatum.
There was like 4 fouls that should have gone against the 76ers that weren't called. And it is what it is. Look, you don't have to worry about those kind of missed calls if you don't put yourself in a situation where they're going to completely swing a game. And I think the Celtics did the exact opposite of that. What's Phil saying? Looney. Oh, my
I
God.
wish the Celtics had Looney. He's a beast on the boards, and
A
he stays
murderer.
healthy. Speaking of boards, playoff pregame pick presented by Smash the Odds. At Smash Odds on Twitter, daily free picks there. It's Rob Williams over 7.5 rebounds tonight. I don't have a pick. My pick is if they go up by double digits, bet on Philly. That's what I'm going to tell you to do. Get yourself some
Don't
insurance.
say that.
Don't trust
Why
these
do you do
guys.
this
They're
to me?
assholes. They play like it. I've lost. They're fake. I said on the pod, they're fake. The Celtics are what I say all these other teams are. The Celtics, if Julius Randle was a team, it would be the Celtics.
Oh, man. How are you feeling about your Nuggets prediction, by the way?
Of what?
You told me the Nuggets stink before the playoffs started.
Well, I actually thought I was talking about the Celtics.
Okay, you got them confused.
The Celtics are what I said the
Easy.
Nuggets are. They can't perform when it's a close game. How do you expect to win in the playoffs if you can't win a close game?
You
How can
score
we
the
expect
hell
these
out
guys
of the
to win a
ball.
title
That's
if they can't compete when it's close?
you run up the score. That's how you win. Unfortunately, like that's how this team was
They
winning.
can't
this
even
year.
do that. They can't even hold the lead.
Well,
They get up
it's
big.
'cause
You can't even trust them.
they got to not take their foot off the accelerator, and that was the problem. I think
We've been
that's.
saying that for 3 years.
I know. Hey, look,
That broke me on Monday.
Don't shoot
Like,
the
I-
messenger. We all know this is true. Like we all know,
I know.
this is.
I
it's
know
the
we know
same
it's true,
problem.
but like, we're like saying the same stuff all the time, and nothing changes. These guys come out after the game and they're like, we're sorry, we need to be better, and then they come out and do the same shit the next day.
Yeah.
I'm
One
sick
second.
of it. I complained to Jack about it on Monday. I'm sick of these guys sitting there and like trying to like be accountable, but they do everything except actually do something about it. Like they say everything that people are looking for them to say, but then they don't change anything. Like even today, I saw Brogdon quotes. They were like, "We need to play defense." It's like, no shit, you need to play defense. It's the fucking playoffs.
I think they'll be better today. I think game one was probably a wake up call. Not that they should have needed one, but I think they turn it
Also,
around.
Jimmy J, AD abuses Looney. Looney had 10 and 23 rebounds yesterday.
So did AD.
When was the last time that you saw two guys get 23 rebounds apiece in a
Crazy.
game? That is nuts.
That's crazy.
I also look. AD also killed JJJ. He put him on a freaking poster in that series against the Grizzlies. So like,
Ben Rhodes
and that's the
says, "Get
defensive
Nick
player of the
Nurse."
year.
Please don't get
If-
Nurse. Joe
I don't
Mazzulla-
know if I would.
Absolutely.
What I would do if Nick
Ben,
Nurse was the coach of this team.
come on.
Can we get a
Ben.
ban?
Are you? Look, Ben,
All right. Well,
not-
probably going to be another short one today. There's 5 minutes left on the clock, so the game will be starting soon. Agree with this. He was missing in action. Derek White's shot just wasn't there for him. The Celtics, I think, were almost testing a little bit too many strategies against Harden, so he couldn't be as effective as maybe you wanted him to be if they just had him fight over screens. Because like, if he's fighting over screens and fighting around screens, Harden would have gotten a few open looks. But like, I think they just tried too many things in game one, which it is. But any final thoughts, fellas?
Yeah, if there was ever a game for Derek White not to play well, it was that one because literally everybody else was unconscious except for the fourth quarter. So if you're targeting Derek White in that game, I don't know what to tell you. Literally just play defense. All the math stuff makes sense for an average game, but in a vacuum, that game, all they had to do was play defense against a team without Embiid, and they would have been fine.
Harden
And
did
half
have
of
a
that's
throwback
on Joe
performance.
because the lineups he was rolling out there with the strategies they were using were kind of set up to fail. That's my opinion. If Al Horford's getting killed in switches all playoffs and you keep rolling him out there to switch in the clutch time and you don't expect him to target it, I do not know what to tell you.
That I will go after Joe about that. Yeah, I think Joe needs to be able to adjust in these situations. I think that's the biggest takeaway you have in terms of defensively. Like, if things aren't working well, like, you need to be able to make those changes and adjustments on the fly. And part of that's just experience and just getting a read on the situation. But you're in the second round of the playoffs. You had a closer than you'd like to first round series against the Hawks, who really pushed you. And now you've got Joel Embiid back. So, like, it's going to be a little bit easier for them to defend them in terms of just pacing and speed. But I don't know what the issue is, but like, figure out minutes for Grant. Okay. Like, this is ridiculous. This guy was a major contributor to the playoff run last year. He's clearly capable. Give the guy some freaking minutes because it's driving me nuts. And I'm imagining it drives Jack crazy too. But like, Grant needs to get out there. He got like 4.5 minutes in game one and he immediately got yanked. It was stupid. I don't understand it. And if you're talking about mobility and defense, like, you were getting killed in those switches. So I really just don't understand why you didn't put him in there. And yeah, throw him out there. Give me some Grant.
I agree. And last thing I'll say before I sign off, Joe sucks because he's continuing the Brad Stevens strategy. I think a lot of people think, Ime Udoka was the best. Celtics almost won 0 close games in the playoffs this year. Almost every game they won was a blowout, and they blew a lot of leads at the end of games too. They almost blew it in game 7 against the Heat. They did blow it in game 6 against the Heat. They screwed it in game 5 against Milwaukee, and they crumbled in the finals. So let's not act like this is a Joe and Brad issue and Udoka was some savior, right? Because this has been a consistent thing.
This is literally Tatum cannot close a game.
Agree. Anyways,
That's what it is.
I'm going to get out of here, get to my seat. Thank you guys for tuning in. There will be a new pod in the inbox tomorrow morning at 5. Probably won't be a super long one again, similar because I do have to catch a train, and it's an 8 p.m. tip tonight for those asking. So
Is it
thank you guys
packed
for tuning in. It's very packed.
No
Only
halftime.
No halftime. Halftime in game 4 because we won't be around in game 3 either.
Yep.
But
I
anyways,
won't be in 3.
thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it very much, and we will see you guys for the next one. Peace.